Shalom, it's motzei Shabbos. After Sukkot, Shabbat Chol HaMoed, the last Shabbos, before the new Torah cycle begins, next Shabbos, we begin with parashas. So, that I just deliver a brief dvar on the reading from today, Exodus 33, and the passage in part concerning Moshe and his request to God to accompany Israel on their journeys, and God grants this request, so Moshe takes the opportunity to ask for another favor to seek a revelation about Hashem's essence, so to speak, and Hashem grants this to him and places him in the cleft of a rock while his glory passes by, and he calls out his name, Hashem Hashem, and 13 attributes of mercy. And there's an interesting midrash that I found that compares this experience of Moshe and Sinai in the cleft of the rock to experience of the prophet Elijah, whom we all know will return with Mashiach in the very near future. And it's an interesting parallel. So this is from Megillah 19b, and it says, Rabbi Hia bar Abba also said that Rabbi Yochanan said, had there been left open a crack so much as the size of a small sewing needle in the cave in which Moses and Elijah stood when God's glory was revealed to them, as it is written, and it shall come to pass when my glory passes by, that I will put you in a cleft of the rock. It's referring to Moshe in Exodus 33:22, and he came there to a cave, and behold, the Lord passed by. That is, he passed by Elijah in 1 Kings chapter 19, verses 9 through 11. They would not have been able to endure due to the intense light that would have entered that crack, as it is stated, for no man shall see me and live. So, regarding the glory, the overwhelming light of Hashem, it's being addressed in this midrash as being overwhelmingly bright and too much for man, so that really there was not any crack that may have permitted the light to enter and blind Moshe and Elijah, so to speak. As is written, for no man shall see me and live. It's food for thought. In like manner that Moses was sheltered by Hashem's hand while placed in the cleft of a rock, Elijah also had what Abraham Maslow would call a peak experience, wherein Hashem passed by, while it is believed that Elijah was sheltered in the same cave or cleft in the rock on Sinai. And in the passage in 1 Kings, the area is referred to as Horeb, which is synonymous with Sinai. So this full passage regarding Elijah is a somewhat famous passage that you may be familiar with, all your viewers out there. Where it's written here in 1 Kings chapter 19, Hashem commands Elijah to go forth and stand upon the mount before Hashem, that's Mount Sinai. It's mentioned in the Midrash, it's the same cleft in the rock, here described as a cave. And behold, Hashem passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains and broke in pieces the rocks before Hashem, but Hashem was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but Hashem was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but Hashem was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it was so, when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entrance of the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him and said, What doest thou here, Elijah? And so we see, just as Moses had quite the revelation from Hashem, and passed on to him the 13 attributes of mercy that we always sing as a refrain in the liturgy of the holidays. So Elijah came into touch, so to speak, with the still small voice of Hashem, sort of object lesson to him that Hashem was not in the grandiose display of the earthquake, etc., but in the still small voice in which he spoke to him within the recesses deep within his heart. May Hashem enlighten us to his ways, and at least through our intuition, if not through some peak experience, as Maslow would say, where we have a personal revelation of Hashem at the end of the year, at the end of the Torah cycle, going into the new Torah cycle, at the beginning of this year, 5782. May you all be blessed, and it's a blessing from Hashem, not from me, but I've heard anyone can bless somebody else, because a blessing is always from Hashem through whoever happens to speak those words. Shana Tova, next year in Yerushalayim.